and welcome back to my channel. My name is Yvette. For those of you that are new here, and my channel is called Cooking with Evie. I like to make a lot of videos, especially ones on cooking and grocery hauls. Now, it's been a while since I've made a vegan recipe. If you read the title, you know I'm making a vegan pesto sauce, and I want to put a quick disclaimer that I've never made pesto before, but I'm hoping it's going to be delicious. Today's pesto is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be using oregano and basil to make this pesto, just to have a nice fusion, and because in all honesty, I have a lot of oregano that I don't know what to do with it. I have a beautiful plant that someone gifted me, and I'm very thankful for it, but I just can't go through all of it, and I want to continue to prune it so that it will continue growing. I also bought a basil plant last week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago, to make pesto because I really want to, but the basil plant is not doing as well as the oregano plant is, so I want to make sure I can at least get some use of the basil plant in case it decides to go. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I have finally made it to 100 subscribers, so I want to say thank you guys so much. It's been a long time coming. I've been saying in lots of videos recently that I wanted to reach 100 subscribers, and I finally have gotten there, so I want to thank every one of you that's subscribed. I've been looking at my analytics, and I've noticed that over 70% of my viewers are actually not even subscribed. So if you've seen a couple of my videos and you like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'd really love to have you around. My next goal is 1,000 subscribers. I know that's quite lofty, but I definitely, I like to dream big and I like to make a lot of goals. I've been thinking about what kind of content I should create, and I want to create things that you all want to see. I'm very passionate about cooking, and I'm very passionate about saving money. So if you guys have any ideas for anything you want to see, let me know. I will try and get those out to you. I do try to post videos every single Wednesday. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I make my first pesto, vegan style. So as I normally do, I want to show you the ingredients that we're going to be using for this recipe. Today we are going to be using some raw cashews. The recipe that I referenced for inspiration did mention using raw almonds, but I don't have raw almonds. I only have roasted, but I do have raw cashews. I looked it up, and some pestos do call for cashews, so we're going to sub that in. We're also going to be using organic, first cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, some basil, my little basil plant that we got here. We're going to be using pink Himalayan salt, and for the Parmesan replacement that's normally in pesto recipes, we're going to actually be using Bragg's nutritional yeast seasoning. This is a great replacement because it has a cheesy type flavor, and it's used in a lot of vegan recipes to replace cheese. So if you want to do it without the Parmesan, go ahead and sub it in with this nutritional yeast. This container is only about like $4 or $5, so you definitely get a lot in here for what you need. I am not a big fan of Parmesan as it is, so I definitely am going to be using this recipe quite a bit if it turns out well. And you may have caught it, but I said we were going to use oregano in today's recipe, and we are, but we have to first harvest it from my garden. So I'm going to be taking you back there and showing you my beautiful oregano plant, and also harvesting some of the leaves for today's recipe. So I'm taking you all to my little patio in my backyard, and as you can see, this is my oregano plant. She is quite luscious, if I do say so myself, and honestly it started from a little bunch, but it has grown, and we recently actually did shear it off, but as you can see, there's a lot of growth and it's kind of going wild, but I'm all for it. So I'm gonna take a good amount of these leaves and see how good I am at doing this and filming. Normally I just rip it off the stem. As you can see there, that's why you have that little bunch right there. And my husband does have garden shears, but he's not home right now, so we're gonna go ahead and just have to go with scissors. Hopefully that's okay with y'all. Forgive me if I'm doing some sort of sacrilege, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this right here, this long plant. I'm gonna cut it right there. Grab that piece right there. We can see quite a bit of leaves, but I definitely want more, so let me see. Yeah, I mean, this guy is just going crazy, and he's getting quite long, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim right here. You can see, like about here. This guy right here is getting pretty hairy, so we're gonna go ahead and cut you right there. Go ahead and leave it like this. Actually, you know what? I might get this little bunch right here. Hopefully my husband doesn't kill me for cutting this horribly. I'm gonna leave it like this because there's plenty that I've got now. Hold on, let me grab the last bit. Ugh. Anyway, that's the oregano that we're gonna use for today's recipe. I'm gonna clean this off and then we're gonna get back in the kitchen. So I harvested the drooping plants more or less from my basil plant. So this is kind of what I'm working with as far as basil. It's not a lot of basil that I'm gonna be throwing in there, but I really wanna have the traditional basil flavor in there. I'm mainly going to be working with this oregano that I harvested. The first thing to do is give this a wash and then we're gonna cut it up. We only need about a cup, so I was gonna save the stems just in case I needed them, but I think with the amount of leaves that we have, we should be fine. You guys ever need a plant or an herb that's gonna continue to grow and grow and grow, no matter how much you prune it, I say get an oregano. The last time we pruned it, I did leave the stems and kind of throw them into other pots to kind of have them decompose and be a compost. And let me tell you, those stems are still going strong, and some of them have even started sprouting oregano leaves. This oregano does not die easy. So if you need a quick and easy oregano to grow, find someone that has it and definitely give this one a try because it's so resilient and I absolutely love it. It gives so much good flavor. And a really quick tip, I have this one already washed. To pick off the leaves, you just pinch it right here at the base of it, and then you just snip it right off. So I'm gonna go ahead, wash the rest, take off the leaves, and then we'll come right back. If any of the leaves have ugly ends like this, just cut it off, and then you can discard that and continue to work through your leaves that we're gonna pluck off. These look great. Just wash these guys, and they look beautiful. These guys have been so prolific, it's not even funny. I mean, we trimmed it here, and then it started growing 2 stems there. I'm telling you, I gotta wash these 2 and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've washed and processed all the plants. I'm gonna leave the basil on the stem actually, and I was gonna cut it up, hence the cutting board and the knife, but honestly I have a pretty, I would say, high-speed blender, so I'm just gonna leave it whole. And it says to use 1 cup of fresh oregano. Of course I'm adding my basil here, but the rest will be oregano. It just says 1 cup of the oregano firmly or tightly packed. So I'm gonna just try and squeeze all of this into this cup, and then we will be ready to get started on the recipe. And I would say that's definitely a good cup's worth. You could probably put in a little bit more, but this is definitely more than enough. I am using a Ninja blender today, but you can use any type of blender that you like. I'm gonna start by throwing in the ingredients, and the recipe calls for a cup of oregano. Again, this is oregano and basil that I'm putting in here. So I'm just gonna pour that in. It's really packed in there, so it's kind of hard for it to come out, but it looks like it came out, so there it is. I'm gonna kind of intersperse this throughout the blender. It also calls for a 1/2 cup of almonds, but again, I'm using cashews. Put that in there. Calls for a 1/2 cup of olive oil, and I'm just gonna pour that on there. Nice and liberally. Ooh, this looks nice and yummy. And the olive oil and the basil smells so fragrant that I'm already salivating at the thought of this. So there goes the olive oil. It did call for 2 cloves of garlic, but I peeled, of course. But I went ahead and I'm gonna use a big clove and then 3 smaller cloves, which will hopefully be about the equivalent. And then lastly, or second to last, a 1/2 cup of this nutritional yeast. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up and make sure to get in a good amount of that yeast in there. This replaces the Parmesan. 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast going in. Oh, this is looking oh so delicious, y'all. I cannot wait to try this. And we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit of salt. Let me throw in a few sprinkles, and then at the end, if we need more, I'll go ahead and throw more. So just a little light couple sprinkles of pink Himalayan salt, and we're gonna give this a go. I'm gonna go ahead and just power this on, and on a medium speed, go ahead and blend this up. The recipe does call that you use a plastic spatula to slide, so that's what I'm gonna do here, and it's looking bright yellow, probably because of that nutritional yeast. So far, it smells delicious. pesto, and I added a whole lime to it just to make it more liquidy, because honestly I found it a little thick and I feel like it might be hard to work with in the recipe, but if you want to, definitely omit that. I just wanted it to have a little bit more of a liquidy texture, but I didn't want to add just water because I didn't want it to have some taste to it. I'm gonna make some pasta on the side, of course. I'm using some organic whole wheat spaghetti. I've got some green beans boiled, and for our protein, we're gonna use these chicken strips. This is from the Morningstar Farms brand. This is a vegan product. It is a meat replacement. So I am thinking we're gonna do some spaghetti with this mixed with the pesto and the pasta all done together with green beans on the side. That's our dinner tonight, and I'm very excited about it. So as you can see here, I am just stirring up the pesto sauce with that mock meat, getting it ready and fully coated before I add the noodles. And you can see there a shot of what the noodles look like. Doesn't look super appetizing in this shot, but I ended up pairing it with the green beans and the tomatoes, and this is what it ended up looking like. Honestly, it was really delicious, and my husband ended up liking it. I do have some tweaks for the future, and I'll play around with the recipe, but I definitely recommend this. If you want to give it a try, please be sure and let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. Take care, y'all.